I'm Patrick Bailey with IQlist.com. Today is June 18th of 19, and this is my 2019 Homeschool Conference Aftermath video. So, Homeschool Conference. So what's the deal with that? Okay, so for this YouTube channel, my main driver and mission is to convince every homeschool parent that they need a 3D printer in their classroom. I want to help convince them, then help onboard them to be successful and really draw a lot of success and value out of 3D printing. With that in mind, I have no illusion that right now, that the majority of my viewers are homeschoolers. They're not. I also have no illusion that someday, 4 years from now, the majority will be. Probably still not. But it's a driver for me. So I have this feeling. This helps drive me on to make the videos that I make. And I have the feeling that this driver helps me make content that is appealing to all the new people joining the 3D printing ranks, and maybe even some of the old school guys who find this all interesting or who are on a similar mission. They want to help new people get up to speed in 3D printing and to be successful at it. With that in mind, this year I had a booth at the homeschooling conference here in Denver. And so here's actually some pictures of it I took while I was there. And so there you go. There's my printer going. There's a bunch of little carabiners I printed out with my IQlist logo on that and a QR code for video. A bunch of stuff we gave away, some stuff we sold. And so it's just really interesting to get out there. Here's some other pictures of it. So I got a little Nefertiti statue there and some other things. So it was really interesting. And there's another booth. There's my son there hanging out in front of it. So it was a lot of fun. So this is actually my second year of doing a booth. Last year, it was like a last minute thing. So last year, we've been homeschooling only for 3 years. And so last year was our first homeschool conference. So we signed up to go to this thing. And I'd kind of decided I had this mission that I wanted to help onboard homeschoolers into 3D printing. But this was my first homeschool conference. I figured I'll go, I'll figure what's going on, I'll talk to someone and see if I can rent a booth next year and show people 3D printing. Well, my wife, she was looking through the catalog and found a guy who was already doing 3D printing. I said, perfect, let me go call him and see if he needs help. I'll just show up and just help him man his booth, and then I can figure out what's going on, and then maybe I can do a booth or something. So last year was kind of like a real quick thing. So I printed out as many carabiners and things like I could and things I brought with me and just helped and showed things off. And it was pretty interesting. So this year, I was more prepared. So this year I was a little more prepared. It was a lot of fun. We did a lot of little stuff. It went a lot better this year. Now, for some people out there, it may seem silly to go pay for a booth with this mission in mind. But if this is my goal being to onboard homeschoolers and convince them, this is a place where I have 100% concentration of homeschool parents and their kids. So I can see what they like, how they react to this whole 3D printing thing, and I can kind of shape my message back and forth on what's going to be the tipping scale, what's going to convince them, what's their needs, what do they need. So with this in mind, I want to go over some highlights of what happened at this conference. Okay, some of the highlights. I met a fan at this conference. His name's Derek. And actually, I met him last year. I kind of remember him. Actually, I do remember him because it was kind of important to me at the time. I met this last year. He seemed really excited about all this. This is really cool. I'm going to sign up for this. I'm going to watch. I'm going to do all this stuff. And last year the conference went well, but from comments like that, I expected a little bit of a boost. So I expected, hey, I'll get 30 more subscribers out of this conference or something. And, that's kind of important at this stage. I'm still on my little journey trying to get to that magical 1,000 subscribers, which hopefully we'll get there this year. But from that, I was like, wow, this is going to move the bar. Yeah. And then the next day, well, nothing. So I said, well, and also just not everyone was talking like that, but I had one or two talk like that. And usually some people are, shy, reserved, don't know what to say. So sometimes those outgoing people represent 10 or 20 people. So that's why I kind of thought that. But I walked away next day, bloop. And I went, well, they're kind of full of it. I guess I was over-enthusiastic. I'm still excited about this. I'm still going to move the bar. It's going to take longer than I thought. But bloop, whatever. Then this guy shows up this year. He's like, you're back. And he says, yeah, I've been watching you all year long and blah, blah, blah. And, kind of quizzed him. My own way kind of quizzed him to say this and that. I was like, wow, he has been watching. So I was like, wow. So shout out if you're watching this, Derek, post a message, say hi. So that was really cool. That was really, really cool. So I was really excited about that. That was a big highlight for me. Also a big highlight is this year I was able to print. I got prepared with this. Last year was kind of like a last minute thing. So I printed a bunch of carabiners. There's a 3D PFT. I can't remember his name, but he designed this 3D printer. This 3D printed carabiner. You can go find it on Thingiverse. It's really awesome. I printed a bunch of them, gave them away. And after the show, I was like, this is pretty cool. And I still love these carabiners. I love them a lot. So I called him up, a few months after the last show, and I paid the designer some money to put my logo on them. So I printed up about 600 of these carabiners and, some smaller one, a little smaller than this. And then I was trying to print up 600, didn't have enough time, but I basically made a little, call it business card that had my IQlist.com, and it had a QR code that went to a video to talk about the conference. And so I gave all 400 of those away. I gave all 600 carabiners away, and that was pretty cool. I thought people were pretty receptive. Another thing about giving stuff away. I gave away some other random stuff here and there. But the booth next to me, I have to admit, I think I know what her booth was about, but I didn't really, I didn't have enough time to go and talk to her too much. But it looks like she's an author, and she's writing stories, medieval time stories, Egyptian stories, kind of rehashing some old stories in her own ways, my take on it. So forgive me if I'm wrong about that. But then at the end of the show, I was like, well, you need some props. She already had some of her own props. She was doing a great job. But I had a Nefertiti. I had a Julius Caesar. So I just handed her all this stuff. And she was like, oh, you don't have to do that. And I was like, no, if I don't give them to you, I have to take them home. So that was kind of fun. It's fun giving away stuff. This year I made some money. Not quite enough to cover my costs for the booth, but it's kind of nice to get on that journey to kind of breaking even. Not so much for the money, because right now, doing this booth, taking a couple of days off, it's not about making money for me. But part about selling stuff is seeing what people are honestly, truly interested in. I could give away 1,000 carabiners just because it's free and it's slightly interesting. Some people probably really like them. Some people are probably like, it's okay, but if it's free, I'll take it. But what are people willing to pay for? That shows their interest. So I put a bunch of stuff out this year. And some stuff did okay. Some stuff didn't do okay. So I learned a little bit about that. One thing that was really great is I don't have it in front of me, but I had designed this lemon battery experiment, which is on Thingiverse. And I've done a video on it somewhere in the YouTube channel. And I had one lady, she just got it. And she's a teacher. I think she actually teaches a normal class at a normal school. And so she bought 4 of them, she bought 4 of them to go teach in her class. And I was like, wow, that was great. Also, I have these DNA things I printed out. This is my design, but it's on Thingiverse. And I sold a couple of these, and people were getting that. And it was a lot of fun. And also, one thing that was really cool, I printed up a couple hundred keychains, these little Colorado heart keychains, because they were easy to print. I thought, well, hey, simple thing I can throw out there and see if I can sell it. And they weren't selling very well. In fact, they didn't sell too well. But I had one person come by who was from... let's see if I wrote this down. Trail Life Heritage Girls. Think of it as kind of like the Girl Scouts, I guess. And so they're getting ready to go to Jamboree, and they wanted 100 of something so they could trade with their friends. And I think they were actually going to a different state. So it's kind of ideal to have something from Colorado. So I had these little Colorado heart keychains. They went and bought 100 of them. I gave them a really killer deal on it because it's fun. Otherwise, I had to bring them home, right? So that was a real big highlight. It was neat to make that connection. So I like that. That was a big highlight. Another big highlight is at this conference that they were impressed with the 3D printing booth. Because we had a 3D printer in action and moving and people could touch things in interaction, we had a crowd all the time. So it was really nice to hear from them directly and indirectly. My wife was walking around, so she would indirectly hear some of these conference runners, promoters, whatever they're called, who were just saying, wow, these guys are doing a great job. And so it was really nice to get that feedback. And I thought it was pretty fun. And also, I don't know if this is a highlight, but it's interesting. You'd be surprised. Well, it is a highlight. We introduced a lot of people to a 3D printer. There are so many people there who have never seen a 3D printer up close running. I would say, this is my second year doing it. I would say somewhere between 25 to 40% people, maybe half, have never seen a 3D printer, let alone seen one running in front of them. And so that was really a highlight to introduce that to them. Also this year, last year I had a lot of girls who were interested, but more so boys. This year it kind of evened out. Some of the people who were by the booth all the time were some girls. So it was really interesting seeing a lot of these girls getting interested. So it was more, I would say it was more 50-50 boys and girls than it was last year, with these girls being interested in the 3D printer and what they could do with it. So that was a big highlight. Another highlight, the conversations this year with parents were way different than last year. Last year, there was some breakthrough a little bit, but this year they were getting it. They were understanding. The conversations were a lot deeper. They were more interested. It wasn't just a passive thing. There were a lot more parents who were a lot more to the next level of going the route and buying a 3D printer. Another thing. This is an awesome thing. I had a couple people come by with stories about their 3D printers. There's a couple people who had Prusa printers, and they were more than happy. Me, I kind of live in a shell because I've only had a Prusa printer, and it's been great. And so sometimes I don't understand. I don't know by comparison. So this is a workhorse. I like it. It's great. But I can't say, well, this one's good too. I go, I don't know. But from some of the people who are buying cheaper printers, in the $300 or $400 range, they just weren't happy. I got horror stories. They were slow. They weren't working. So it kind of reinforces my belief in my experience that Prusa is doing a great job. So that was good to get some of that feedback. Some of the things I learned. Some things did not sell as well as I had guessed. And it was an experiment to see what people were interested in. But one thing that's kind of a no-duh is this homeschool conference is a Christian homeschool conference. And I did not print anything Christian related. So it would have been, I think I might have been more successful if I had printed, I had some magnets that were some Colorado magnets. Had I printed something out that was a scripture or something, that might have sold to your audience, right? That might have been a little duh. But also, I need more trinkets. They were buying little trinkets. I think some other little trinkets that are easy and simple, that are cheap to buy. Next year I'll do more. It'll be more just to see what people are interested in. And to see, if they're not willing to spend 50 cents on something, that means they're really not interested in that. Also, next year, I desperately need a second printer. I only have this one. If I had a second printer, I can not only print more stuff, but I can run a second demonstration there. And I think that would be bigger. Another thing, I need a bigger booth. The booth was good, it was fine, but I just need more space. So next year, I actually got a slightly bigger booth. So we'll see how that goes. Another thing, things I learned. I kind of knew this going in, but it kind of reinforced this. This whole thing, trying to convince the homeschool parents they need this, it is a crock pot. It is going to take years. So I need at least 4 more years, just coming back and saying the message. It's going to take a while for them to get it. But from last year to this year, the conversations are different. They're better. And I would say I definitely sold, I didn't sell them myself, but last year I probably sold one printer. I sold someone on a printer. I could see that. I could see his face right now. I think he went and got one. This year, there's probably 2 or 3. And next year, it's going to be probably in the 9 to 12. I think it's going to change every year, get more and more. And at some point, 4 or 5 years from now, they're going to have printers. I'm going to be talking to people who majority have printers, but it's a slow roll. And really, one thing that was a big thing for me is I got a chance to refine and work on my elevator speech. And so with that all in mind, now I'm going to go over my elevator speech because I think this is a good thing, trying to go over some of the highlights on why people need a 3D printer, especially homeschoolers. Okay, ready for it? Here is the elevator speech. So I kind of write this down, so I'll be reading this a little bit, but I work back and forth talking to people, and so here's the pitch that I was giving these parents. Okay, so I'm here to convince every homeschool parent that they need a 3D printer in their homeschool. Because you can print out tools for the classroom like this. There's a DNA sequence, double helix, that I designed, and it's on Thingiverse for free. You can download and print it out. And that's one amongst many things. Also, your kids can get creative. Your kids can design and print things out. And so for the younger kids, say 5 to 13, there's a thing called Tinkercad.com. And here it is, where you can sign up for a free account, and you can design simple things and think Tinker Toyish. The tools are a little simple. You can make complex design, but it's kind of a chore. But you can, a young 5-year-old can make some interesting 3D designs, and they can download it and print it out. So it's really good for young kids. Now, for your older kids who are engineering minded, say 13 plus, there's Fusion 360. It's a 3D design software program created by the same guys who created AutoCAD. Fusion 360 cost a lot. Now, I think it used to be thousands of dollars per year for subscription. I just recently looked over, and I think it's now $600 a year for a subscription. But it's expensive. This is per year for a subscription. It's the same tool that a lot of major companies are using. Boeing uses it, Apple, Ford, Tesla. They're using it for their 3D design work. This is a serious tool that people are using in their day jobs. People do use this tool in their job. You can get it. People are getting paid to use this tool. So now this tool, now this tool is available for free for homeschoolers. So you can download it. If you use it for non-for-profit, you can use it for free for homeschooling. Unencumbered. It's all the tools. It's not a toned down thing. It's the actual same tool that those guys are using in their real jobs. In addition to this, there are great video tutorials on how to use Fusion 360. I do a little myself here on this channel, but I pale in comparison to some other teachers out there on YouTube who focus solely on the subject, like Lars Christensen. And if you're interested, look up Fusion 360 on YouTube and watch his 2 beginner tutorials. They are great, and I wish I taught as well as he did. Now for the programming-minded. There's a 3D design tool called OpenSCAD. It's a 3D design as code. Now, it's not for everyone, but for the coding-minded student out there, it's very useful. Like, I designed these chains in OpenSCAD, and I have that code out there on Thingiverse. And I've done a few videos over how to create things in OpenSCAD on this YouTube channel. Now, OpenSCAD, again, it's not for everyone, but it's a really cool tool. And between the stuff I'm doing, I'm using Fusion 360, and I'm using OpenSCAD. Okay, so there are the design tools. Now for the 3D printer. In 2019, the 3D printer is not yet the microwave oven. That is to say, it's not a push button, get a job done, and you never need to fix it for 20 years, and then you get a new one when it breaks. I was telling these parents, they break. But I have this Prusa i3 Mark III. I run it 6 days a week, 20 hours a day. I abuse it. And I have it break down every 3 or 4 months. In fact, if you're familiar with my YouTube channel, you've probably seen some videos where I'm doing some repairs. And when I do a fix, I make a video on how I fixed it to share on YouTube, and I'm back up and running again. So with all that in mind, I recommend to people not only to buy the Prusa i3 Mark III, or, well, now there's a slightly improved one, the Prusa i3 MK3S, which runs about $750 for a kit. And I recommend to get the kit. Don't get the fully built one. It costs a little bit more for the fully built one, but I recommend to get the kit so that you are forced to assemble it. And it's not that hard to assemble, not really. But when you assemble it, you understand it because it's going to break. And if you assemble it and understand it, it's going to be that much easier to fix it when it does have an issue. And another few reasons I recommend Prusa, he keeps iterating. Month to month, he makes his design better. The MK3 is better than what I have. As an example, one of my breaks, and I got a video on my YouTube channel here somewhere, my heat bed broke. My heat bed on the Prusa i3 Mark III was soldered on originally. And so the solder was, after a year of moving, too much movement, it finally broke. And so it broke. I resoldered it, did a video. Now, soldering is not everyone's cup of tea. That's a little bit more than most people are willing to jump into. There's a lot of people here who can solder. Not a big deal. But not everyone's going to be up for soldering. And after I fixed it, I went and looked at Prusa's to see if he had done a redesign. And he had. And so now the Prusa i3 Mark III, it's not soldered on, it's bolted on. So he keeps seeing those weak points where things are happening and problems are happening, and he's redesigning it and making it better. There you go. Also, so he's trying to move toward the microwave oven, and it's going to take a while to get there. So he's not going to be there next year. He's not going to be there in 2 years, but he's moving the bar more so than anyone else I see right now. Also, he supports his products. This is something where I don't ever envision myself being a manufacturer of anything, because I might like to make things, I might like to design things, but the true business thing is supporting them and supporting them for a long time. And that takes a lot of effort, a lot of talent to do that. Recently, I had an LCD screen go on this because I kind of fried it. And of course, I looked at Prusa, found the part, ordered it, boom, got it delivered, got it fixed. He has the parts in stock, ready to go whenever you have a problem. And that is a big deal. to tell a story about that, between parts and also cheaper printers, I have a friend, he bought a cheaper printer on Amazon, $200 or $300. And between being a cheaper printer and also not having parts, it was all assembled. He got it home, printed it out for a couple of weeks, it broke. And now it's sitting on his shelf doing nothing. So a cheaper printer is, I think, not the way to go. Not only does he spent half the price, but now it's useless. He doesn't have the parts, and he's not going to deal with this. This is a good price point, and this is a good supported 3D printer. I'm liking it a lot. So that's the end of my elevator speech. And so I said that, or some different combination of that, during the conference, and I think it helped. I changed a little bit here and there, and having the interaction with people helped me hone it. I think I had a lot of value, and so I had a lot of fun talking with these parents. It was really good. So the conference was awesome. I'll be back again next year to move the ball forward some more. Again, it's a crock pot. It's going to take a while to educate, convince, draw all these homeschoolers in to 3D printing. And as for right now, so there's all that. There's the conference. Yay. Had a lot of fun. Going to do it again. And so right now, for me, I'm about a month out from moving into a new house. So I'm kind of excited about that. But also I'm kind of busy. So I hope to get some more videos done between now and then. But we'll see. I have so many video ideas I've written down here and there. I have so many things I want to do. One of the horrible things that I do to myself is, for those who may or may not use Slack, in Slack, you can actually have a reminder for yourself. You can say, remind me in a day, remind me in a week. So I have always reminders of things that I want to do videos on. And so some days I wake up and I have 40 reminders, and then I kick the can down the road for a few more weeks. But I have a lot of videos I want to do. So I think videos might be sparse for a few months, but come the fall, expect a lot of videos from me because there's so many cool ideas I want to do. Okay, so anyway, enough of that. So I hope this video is interesting. There's no actual 3D printing in this video. But more videos with 3D printing are coming. Hey, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, hey, give it a thumbs down. Also, if you like what we're doing here, subscribe to the channel by clicking the subscribe button. And lastly, have a piece of info to share? Just post a comment.